Oh, okay. Hey guys, what's going on? It's AEZ, All Elite Zone Canada, back for another episode. We're on episode 22 already, and that's been flying. And happy to obviously be joined by two of the favorites here, Adam and Siren. I hope you're doing well. How you doing, Adam?
I'm doing good, Matt. Thank you for having me again. I always love coming on our Northern Neighbors podcast as well.
Awesome. Well, it's always nice to have you. Siren, how are you? How's your week so far?
I am very glad at this moment that I'm a hermit because it's real cold outside. But other than that, I'm good.
It is cold. And just before we got on the podcast, we were all just sharing because we're all from very different points, within the Canada and US, and just talking about the different weathers that we're going through right now. And the consensus is it's all pretty crummy. So it's, but hey, it's coming up to mid-January, so we really can't complain. It's actually been pretty mild here in Toronto so far this year. So again, no snow. The snow is melted, and we just have some crummy cold rain. But hey, you know what? It could always be worse. So, but saying that, we've got a great show again for you. And thanks for everyone that's tuning in and supporting us. We always appreciate that. Like and subscribe, of course, please. So we're going to do, we've got January 3rd's episode of Dynamite that we're going to be reviewing. And just I'm going to go to Adam to see if you have the list up by chance. If not,
yes, give me a second. Let me pull it up. I had it pulled up and then it went away.
It's probably because we asked you to check the temperatures.
Yeah, I know you guys check that. It's like check the temperatures. Oh man, okay. Yeah. So I have the card for that show. It was the follow-up episode, obviously from big pay-per-view at the end of the year, which was World's End. Left many people shocked. The January 3rd episode was pretty decent. It felt like a good, like one of the original 2019 episodes of Dynamite. It actually started off with the in-ring segment featuring Adam Cole explaining his actions, betraying MJF. And basically, to sum it all up, he basically said MJF would have done the same thing to me, but I betrayed him first. That was basically the sum of what Adam Cole was saying, as well as explaining what the plan was for this new group, which I love the name of. It is now called Undisputed Kingdom. I love the name. So that's basically it, and his plan of just winning all the titles.
Yeah, Siren, what do you think? Did you see this episode or this promo?
Yeah, I was definitely here for the live. It was super awesome, minus the fact that I'm still like real butthurt over that whole thing. We're not going to get into that again because I beat that horse right to death. What is it? There was one line though that Adam Cole said that I thought was really funny. You guys don't have sympathy for me, like question mark. I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, all in all, it was really cool. I liked the Undisputed Kingdom, and then that ended with. We had people come out, right? Did we not?
Yeah, it ended up with it ended up with Bullet Club coming out, just Jay White and the Guns, because I think Juice is still hurt, and then it ended up with the Acclaim and Daddy Ass coming out and kind of running off the Undisputed Kingdom.
I like that because it's kind of like bringing in everybody that was dealing with the whole devil thing all at once. Although I am really excited to talk about hopefully what's going to happen with the Acclaimed and everything. And because I love the Acclaimed, so I'm excited to see what's going to happen with that. And of course, Billy Gunn and his sons. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was a good segment. I wonder if the plan was all along, because I see that, Adam Cole right now, he's got the devil mask and kind of being the devil, which is fine. Actually, I love the mask itself. I think it's a really cool mask. I always wondered if that was supposed to always be MJF's, and that was always going to be his thing, and if he'll actually get it back and it will become his thing again, or, because again, they keep on using, or Adam Cole is, quote unquote, kind of, I guess, the devil at this point. you know, he had some valid points, right? Saying like, how am I the bad guy? You're cheering for one of the worst people here. How are you blind to that? So it does make sense. It is. I find it's interesting that they have it again. They're establishing themselves, and I agree. I do like the name. People are complaining again. Again, everyone's complaining right now online. It's getting a bit bothersome that people can't just enjoy AEW for what it is. But people were saying, "Oh, unoriginal. Oh, here he is. They're using that name again." I'm like, that's because it's his thing. You know, like people, they're regurgitating. He used that in NXT. The Undisputed. Yes, that's because that's Adam Cole's thing, and that's what his group is. So of course he's going to use it again, and people want him to use it again because it makes sense. It's his thing, right? So, I don't. I was kind of irritated when I saw people complaining about that online. I was actually kind of surprised that again they're really establishing themselves as a heel group, and the first guy to come out to call them out is one of the biggest heels in the company right now, Jay White. Which I think is interesting that they're not right to a baby face. They're right, with going right for the heels and then the guns, right? All these guys they're all kind of heels, right? So, but I kind of like that though, because I like that it's take no prisoners, and they're not only letting, we're not only going up baby faces, we're going after whoever. And I guess they had to do that with Jay White to kind of show like, oh, is this a babyface heel? Is it babyface of these heels? So I guess it was all kind of to trick the crowd. But nice segment to start. And then from there, where do we head to, Adam?
We actually have our first match, which is the International Championship match of Orange Cassidy against Dante Martin. I actually thought this match was really good. I think both guys really competed well. I like how more intense Orange Cassidy's becoming in his matches. He doesn't really go for a lot of the gimmicky stuff anymore in his matches. Like, you saw it a little bit, but they didn't do it like they didn't put it on display like they usually do. Even Dante Martin got into it with his little kicks to Orange in the corner, in the crowd going, oh, and yeah. It was a really good match. Obviously, at the end, Orange Cassidy retained, and then we had basically the group there. We had Danhausen, Hook, and Orange, basically with Top Flight and Action Andrade. I think they had a mishap with the audio because they played the wrong song, but they ended up playing the right song, which was Private Party Reunion. Mark Wynn is back from injury. And they basically put the tag teams on notice. They mentioned a lot of teams, and they mentioned FTR, they mentioned the Young Bucks, and hell, they even mentioned the Hardys, who Isaiah Cassidy was part of for a little bit with, Brother Zay was part of Matt Hardy, and so that was pretty much the whole segment in a nutshell.
Siren, what do you your thoughts on the return?
I'm going to go back to the Orange Cassidy and Dante for a little bit, just because I'm really excited to see Dante back, and I've always really enjoyed him in ring, just because his airtime and like some of the really cool stuff that he can do. But like, it does really look like he's floating sometimes, so I want to point that out. How much I just really enjoy watching him wrestle, and I am so happy that he's back. As for Private Party, I'm super stoked, and I am really happy that they called out the Hardys, and I believe it. I don't remember if it was on. It was on Rampage. I'm pretty positive. It was Rampage or Collision anyway, that followed this Dynamite, where they actually had a segment with Private Party and the Hardys, and it was pretty awesome. It was really funny, and if you haven't seen it, you should totally go watch it. And I'm excited about it. So I think that's going to be great, because I want to see the Hardys back and wrestling, and Jeff looked so phenomenal lately. So I'm really happy for that. Yeah, all excited. Yay, Private Party. Yay, more Hardys.
Nice. So okay, yeah, going to the match. Kind of your point, Adam, about changing it up, not getting being as gimmicky, which I like. I was starting to get tired of that, and I think he must be starting to sense that too. I do like the more aggressive Orange Cassidy. I almost like when they in a match like this where Dante is also such a fan favorite. He almost seems a little more comfortable. I can see he's almost comfortable with a bit of a heel approach, which I'm fine with. If he wants to go a little bit harder and go heel, I like to see that version of Orange Cassidy. I think that would be kind of fun to see because we've seen him as this for what 2-3 years now consistently. So it'd be nice to see a change. Dante's always a great wrestler. There was going to be some great spots. I love that too. What Adam, you mentioned that about him doing the doing the little kicks. So it was nice to see that Orange Cassidy wasn't really having any of that. So which was kind of cool. Also nice to see Private Party back. I thought that they would have, if the injuries hadn't happened, I think they would have gone far. I think they would have been, one of the top guys because they were kind of brought in a good spot right from the get-go. I think there was a lot of promise for them. So I'm happy that, and it was nice to see a nice welcome from the crowd as well, giving that nice little chant saying welcome back, which I'm sure is always nice for a guy like that to think, man, I've been away for long. I think they remember me. Do they even care? So I think that does wonders for a wrestler's confidence, that when they get that acknowledgement from the crowd. So that's always nice to see. So yeah, it was good. So we'll see what happens. It'd be nice to see, add a little touch, add another level, another team in there, another high flying team. So Silent, to your point, they could be, I think they're going to have some good matches with the Hardys. And I think they're going to do well to lift up the Hardys. Because I know there's been a lot of talk about the Hardys not being, happy the way they've been booked, and they're on their kind of this is a bit of their swan song, so they want to do things right and do like a last push. So maybe a Private Party is going to be there to kind of help them and give them a couple of really good matches, near the end of their career. Great. So from there, we go. Where do we go next?
We actually have a couple backstage. A couple of segments. We'll go one by one if that works. So the first segment was Renee Paquette interviewing Timeless Toni Storm, the AEW Women's Champion, basically asking her about Mariah May's debut match on that episode. And Timeless Toni Storm going, "Oh, I thought this was New York. It's not. It's New Jersey," and her whole Timeless character that I freaking love. I love this character. She's really embellishing it. She's running with it. I think it's the best thing right now in her career. And obviously, she said she wasn't going to stay. And obviously she exited with probably the best exit ever, where she says her famous stuff of chin up, tits out, watch the shoe, and just leave. So that was the segment with Renee Paquette and Timeless Toni Storm.
Siren, what do you think?
I just absolutely love that she gives not a single frick about Mariah May. Like, not at all. And that makes me so happy. At least I believe she actually said her name this time. Like, I'm not going to watch Mariah May. And before she was not like, who? So, I mean, and I like that Luther was there. The guy's on TV. It's great. I love Luther. I'm going to mention that every time. Heck yeah, Luther. So yeah, all around good.
Yeah, I agree. I love Luther's character. He fits it. He looks the part. It's great. I hope he gets a little more physical as well, because I think he could do some good kind of comedic type of like physical comedy. I think he's built for that, and it kind of fits that character. So we'll have to see. The interview starts. I guess was it that Tony was insulting Renee's perfume?
Yes, there was. Yeah.
So I could just, I know I've said this a bunch of times that I was never a fan of it, but again, I love the commitment to it. And you can see the fun that she's having with it. And I can almost see they must be cracking up. Like, how does Renee keep a straight face? They have to start over and redo it, because I can just picture them having just breaking it, laughing at half the things that she's saying. So kudos for her. It's working. It's getting her the attention. She's right at the top. She's working the title, that she's making the title, which is good. So props to that. So more to come. We'll see. Obviously this is going to come to head with Mariah and her. So we'll see. I don't know how quickly that's going to happen, but there's going to be some kind of turn. That's going to be coming up, I'm sure, in the next few weeks. So from there, where do we go?
we go to House of Black accepting FTR's challenge on Collision, and basically summing it up, basically Malachi and Buddy saying that once they beat FTR, they can join their group and be welcomed in a real family. So obviously, I love the House of Black. I love their story that they're telling with FTR. It's a tag team story that really doesn't need titles to it. I mean, you got group 4 guys that really know how to tell a story without any titles on the line. It's just the whole story of passion and, you know, people torn between things, and, you know, obviously House of Black doing House of Black stuff. So I really enjoyed that segment, and yeah, that match happened on Collision.
Yeah, no. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Siren. Your thoughts.
The match was awesome. Do we talk about like the? I know that we usually talk about Dynamite, but the Collision match was awesome between House of Black and FTR. It was really cool, and they definitely like played up to Dax's family being there a lot, and it was really awesome. And I definitely don't think it's over, despite the match obviously coming to an end. I don't think the story is going to be over, and it looks really cool, like a good feud. So
Yeah, no, they're both 4 great wrestlers. I actually really like that that Buddy and Malachi have kind of formed that kind of the tag team kind of right now as part of, which I love, because I think Buddy's phenomenal. And I think actually I think Buddy's probably has the best physique of any like wrestler right now. He's one of my favorite physiques. He's a powerhouse, and he can move, which is amazing. Yeah, no, great promos. I haven't watched that Collision match yet, but I will. I know I can only imagine, you know, with those guys getting in the ring, do a great job. So yeah, you're right. This doesn't need a title. These guys are great storytellers, and just great professional wrestlers overall. So looking forward to seeing more from these guys. And I'm just curious. I mean, the House of Black is pushing it. Do they really want FTR? I mean, they keep on saying, "Come home and, you know, this is a real family." So, or is this just a big trick, or do they actually really want FTR to be, you know, part of the House of Black?
For me, I think again, it's the House of Black thing. It's been their set, you know, trying to turn people to the dark side, with basically only one success, and that was Julia Hart. You haven't really seen many other people that they've tried to like push. You know, they tried it with Andrade, and Andrade pretty much, you know, kind of fought against it. And now they're trying it with FTR, and I think FTR is trying to fight against it. Just a tactic that House of Black uses as a group. And I love it. I mean, it's great to try to turn people dark, you know. I mean, it's reminiscent of The Undertaker's ministry, you know, back in the early, you know, WWF when he did the Ministry of Darkness. So it's a really interesting story, and I'm really excited to see where it goes.
Well, it's I mean, it's kind of a similar to, remember when Dark Order was doing this, when they were recruiting, you know, back, I guess 2 years ago, and they were building. I mean, it's too bad, because the Dark Order, if you put it together with the House of Black, I mean, they had that bit of a similarity, not from I mean, they also have more of they kind of play this mystical, dark, witch rock, warlock type of, you know, type of feel, a little more fantasy than what the Dark Order was more of a cultish type of feel.
More of the righteous.
Yeah, so it's be interesting. So it'd be kind of nice to see, even if they, yes, your point, they really need to, someone is going to join the Dark Order. I mean, not Dark Order, but the House of Black. But I think you should be selective. I like who's in it right now. So, but you're right. They can't keep on asking and trying to get people, and everyone's turning them down, because then it's just going to kill the group. Because that's going to show like nobody likes you. Nobody finds you good enough to want to join the group. But I think they are. So it'd be interesting to see. I guess, would you say, is Sky Blue a pseudo member?
Well, technically, if you go back to the way that they described Julia Hart when she was first turned, and the way that she described herself is that she is the priestess. So, like, I would imagine, like, if you're a priestess, you would just train more priestesses as they would in any other religion, right? So, like, I imagine she's just a member of the House of Black, but in the way that Julia would be a member of the House of Black. Although hierarchy, right? I definitely think that Julia Hart needs a female stable. I think it'd be really dope to have a bunch of bad bitches running around all dark and spooky. And like there's enough there's enough ladies that you could, I don't know. But yeah, I would say that Sky Blue would be more under Julia. Like if it ever came down to a faction break, you know, I definitely think that she would be more of a with Julia than with Malachi in the house.
Yeah, I'm going to see, especially as it develops, because if that does happen, because I keep on waiting for them to change her name to Sky Black, but I don't think that will happen until if she officially joins, you know, the group. Then I think they'll change the name because Sky Blue doesn't really work anymore. I think like Sky
Julia
Black,
Hart.
your haircut, right?
Yeah, but they didn't do Julia Blackheart. Like, I mean, that was totally right there. They didn't touch Julia Hart's name. They only changed her character. And I said it before, and I'm going to say it again. The next person to say Sky Black, I'm going to reach out and give. There's so many better options. Black Sky is better. Midnight Sky, Dark Sky. Anything is better than Sky Black. Anything, grammatically speaking.
Yeah, you're right.
Like,
you're right.
It's so bad, and it's one like I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
So, did you have an issue with? Do you have an issue with like the name Sky Blue? Then
no, because that makes sense. It's just like you have the sky blue color, right? You don't say sky black. You say that is a black sky, right? Or like it's I don't know. Like it doesn't.
No, you're right. Because I'm thinking of my my pencil crayons and they have like the different colors, but they would just call it in the end, and they'd be like a sky blue.
Yeah,
fair enough.
I don't know. It just sounds weird, and we've had this conversation on with my community, and that's why I'm like so riled about it. This person is like, Sky Black is just the most logical choice. I was like, say it out loud, and then say like 10 different other variations of it, and then tell me that any single one of those is worse than Sky Black, and you would be wrong.
Fair enough. Some good points. Good points. So Adam, from there,
we go to our last backstage segment where Renee interviews Swerve Strickland about tonight's main event against Daniel Garcia. Basically, just Strickland being Strickland, and I loved it. Anytime that man gets on the mic, talks, does anything in the ring, I'm enthralled with it. I'm enthused by it. I love it. Basically mentioned that he goes, in 2024, I'm looking for gold. That's my goal in 2024. And he says, I think he mentioned about how both he and Daniel Garcia both showed that they were really good in the tournament, in the Continental Tournament. But now his goal is to actually win some championships. And basically, if he has to go through Garcia, that's what he's going to do.
All right. Siren?
One of my best things about AEW, one of my most favorite things about AEW is a lot of their promos are like, even if they're going head to head, it is like, you may be like super technically amazing, and like you may be like really good at this, but I'm still gonna kick your ass. And I love that because they are pushing people at the same time, and because it's like it also makes you look good if you are the one to win the match, because you just said how awesome this guy is, and then you kick his butt. But they do that a lot. A lot of wrestlers do that, and you can feel the respect in the locker room. And first AEW Black World Champion. I'm going to leave it at that. Mic drop.
No, I agree. That's one of my favorite parts of a promo, when the guys are giving props, because it just shows how much they respect their opponent and how much research they're doing on the opponent and how well they know their opponent. But I like that. It's like it's always nice to give them, like, it's like that. They always do a compliment sandwich, right? Hey, you're great at this, but you're terrible at this. You're the worst at this, but hey, it's going to be a good match. I know you're good. Right. So yes. And I'm a big fan. And I think, and I'm glad, if anything, I know like, especially last year and a half, Swerve kind of was surrounded by these guys, and that didn't work out. And then he had these guys, and it didn't work out. So I kind of like the group. I like where he is now. I like in Prince Nana. It seems to be a great fit. It works, and yeah, no, it was good. Great promo. Swerve, he's on fire right now. I think everyone knows it in the ring, on the mic. He's really good, and he won't be denied. If he doesn't win something this year, people are going to lose their shit. Like, it's going to be like, what else does a man have to do to get something
And
around here?
rightfully so.
Right.
Like,
So, but at the same time, I kind of like it because when he does win, people are going to be like, yes, finally, because there's been so much build up and great matches. And he's like, and then everyone's going to be like, okay, when are you giving it to him? And then people are going to be like, the crowd's going to go nuts.
The build is going to be beauty.
Huge. So I respect that, where the build up is going to be really good. When he actually wins, it's going to be big. So that's what I think it'd be exciting. And and when he, a really well-deserved first championship. So will be great. So from that promo,
we get our debut match of Mariah May against Queen Aminata. I think I'm saying her name right. But she's been in Queen Aminata has been there probably for 6 years. I think she's been in the industry, so she's technically a veteran. So she's been there a while. And so her and Mariah actually had a really solid match. I thought this was a really good debut match for Mariah to go against the Queen. I mean, they were hard hitting. There were certain drop kicks that she hit that I was like, holy cow, that's a good drop kick. A couple of clotheslines, and it was just a really good match. And Mariah May actually won her debut. And after her debut, she ended up getting interviewed by Renee. And she basically trashed New Jersey, so she's like, I've got my first win. It's just unfortunate I did it in New Jersey. And then the first shocker of 2024, the Virtuosa, Deonna Purrazzo, debuts on All Elite. And basically says, I don't care where you're from, where Toni Storm is, you let her know I'm here, because New Jersey's my home and you don't bash it. And I'm All Elite. So basically saying that she has signed a contract with All Elite Wrestling.
Your thoughts, Siren?
It was super awesome. I actually really enjoyed the match. Queen Aminata was, I mean, they were both really talented, but I hadn't, I don't think I'd ever recall seeing Queen Aminata on either ROH or AEW. And if I had, she must have not stood out to me, because I was so like dumbfounded and gobsmacked that there's this beautiful statuesque like Amazonian woman standing in front of me. And I was like, oh, where did you come from? But no, they were very technically great. They looked like they had really good chemistry. I will say that I watched Queen Aminata's following match on Collision, and not so great. Like, really? But there, like that whole episode of Collision, this last episode, like, and ROH and the ROH of this last, like on Thursday, they weren't as smooth as I thought they could be, especially ROH. ROH is like, man, I preach this to people. Like, come on, guys, this is my promotion. And it was like really clunky. Anyway, but yeah, like that match, Queen Aminata was absolutely phenomenal. Mariah May was great. The ending was awesome. I don't know much about the Virtuosa, but I am doing a little bit of match research on her right now. I have like a bunch of stuff that I'm going through for old matches. Which is pretty cool, because yeah, I did. She's absolutely stunning and gorgeous. I could tell that she was from Jersey the moment that she walked out, and that is the most like compliment. I was like, wow. Definitely. And yeah, I thought it was really cool. I'm excited to see what she's going to bring to the women's division. I feel like they've been doing a lot with the stories in the women's division, and her promo when she came out just screamed to me, add me to things. So I'm excited.
Great. I mean, I thought the match was good. I don't see so far. I mean, I didn't really see anything extraordinary from Mariah. There was no like amazing moves. I kind of felt she felt like a WWE star, just the way like the difference of the setting up and like not quite, and you're like I don't know. I mean, the Queen was good. If you just tuned in the match, you wouldn't really know who was supposed to win, because it was pretty fair. I know obviously Mariah was going to win because that was her debut, and they're really kind of pumping that. So it wasn't a squash match by any means. But again, I got to remember sometimes this is people's first matches on a large scale, national TV. There could be jitters. People get nervous, but I mean, it was okay. I did see. So yeah, I wasn't expecting. I guess the Virtuosa. Because
she's female, it's Virtuosa.
It's like Leviosa.
Yeah. And I because I was like, wait a second, I just saw her in Toronto here when Impact did their last pay-per-view of 2023, and she was like one of the main matches there. So I was actually a little surprised to see her. I don't know if you guys had noticed, and again, going back to my comment about jitters, anyone being on TV, but did it sound like her voice had that nervousness in her voice?
What promotion was she from before that? She was from she was from a Japanese promotion. No, not Virtuosa. Mariah May.
Yeah, Mariah May was from Stardom.
Thank you.
She came over from Stardom. I think more so you saw more nervousness in Diana because this was like a bigger. I'm not saying that TNA is not a big stage. They do put on some decent shows in front of good crowds, but the way that AEW is as a big production, the way that the arenas are, full of people and you're on TV live. I think that you kind of heard it in her voice, but I think she was also excited at the same time to be there.
Yeah, I get that. And right. And it's a nervous, exciting hometown debut. That crowd, like, right. So she probably hasn't heard a crowd cheer her like that ever, right? To your point,
it was such a mess.
Right? Being at a crowd like that in hometown. So that was great. So anyways, a nice addition. So we'll see. I do think that the women's division does need some beefing up. Some better talent, some better storylines, better consistency. So we'll see what happens from there. But a nice little debut. And from there,
before I move on, Siren, since you're doing research on Diana, I would highly recommend watch any matches she had with Jordan Grace in Impact, because they had such a great feud between her and Jordan Grace. So I'd highly recommend those matches. Our next is a segment. The two-time TNT champion, the Patriarch Christian Cage, comes out to be interviewed by Tony Schiavone, followed by his family, the Prodigy Nick Wayne, the mother, Shayna Wayne, and of course, Killswitch. During this whole segment, it was great. I think every week Christian just gets better and better with his promos, the way his character is as the Patriarch. Even Shayna got involved in a little bit, and she played it so well. Like the voice, but you kind of expect that coming from the wife of a pro wrestler and a son who's basically a pro wrestler. She comes from a pro wrestling family, so you knew she was going to understand it and gets it. Basically the whole thing was about Christian, about how he finally finished Adam Copeland, that he has to get back in line to earn another title shot. He went on to thank everybody involved in that match, including, Shayna, the Prodigy, Nick Wayne. And as soon as he had his hand on Killswitch, he said, I also like to thank the final person, myself, and I love it because it's just planting the seeds of when Killswitch goes back to Luchasaurus, because even the crowd was starting to chant Luchasaurus. And ironically enough, a lot of people haven't read into this, but Jack Perry has actually filed trademarks for both Jungle Boy and just Jurassic Express. So there may be rumors that they may get back together as a team.
I'm super stoked. I actually as I've mentioned like multiple times, and I will mention for any new people out there joining us in All Elite Zone, I am like the biggest mark in the entire world when I'm watching / talking about wrestling. I understand that it's all, but like I get so riled. Like I was like shouting at the TV because like I knew what was gonna happen. I knew he wasn't gonna thank Luchasaurus, and I'm like, I've been waiting for Luchasaurus to say, I will not call him Killswitch. I will not. And so like I've just been waiting, and I'm so riled, and I'm so excited for when it finally happens. And I understand the drag out and the build and everything, but like every time he comes out there, I just get all still, and I just can't even. And I'm so excited. It was really good, and the way that he dragged out like the, and like wouldn't have been possible, and he just really sold into it, like it's gonna be Luchasaurus, man, it can't be anybody else, me. You're like, oh, you bastard. And it was so good. It was just so well delivered, the way that only Christian Cage could do it, and I love it and I hate it at the same time.
Agreed. I really like this, the patriarch, the family.
Yeah.
I love actually when they call his mom. I love when they call him Mother Wayne. That's awesome. I love Mother Wayne. I love that name. No, and she's done a great job. And you're right. She's been growing up around wrestling, but she also has the look, and she does have that look. So the look fits. If she looked another way, maybe not. But hey, look, you have the look. You have the deal. It all fits. I do like the Wayne character right now. I like what they're doing with him. Yeah, Christian's amazing, and like you said, he's just getting better, and the character just gets more and more developed every week. I love how they're dragging this out with Kill Switch, where the fans, this is what they want. Like the fans are starting to cheer Luchasaurus back. They're waiting for it, which is great. So I'm glad they're not giving it to it right away, because I want to make sure that they keep on using Luchasaurus properly after this. Like, there's sometimes when things split, then there's a bit of a fight for a couple weeks, and then that character just disappears. I mean, that's kind of typical WWE as well. So I'm really hoping that they do something. So whether, like I said, Jungle Boy's coming back, and that'd be, what? I liked Jungle Boy better. I didn't like his heel character much. I don't think the fans could buy it. And then he just, whatever, on his hiatus, so we never got a chance to see the developed heel character. So this might be a good way to bring him back, to pull him out of the patriarch family. I think they should bring him back as a babyface again, if they are going to bring back Jungle Boy. Which again, I haven't heard anything. I haven't heard any timelines or anything. I don't know if that's ever been talked about. Has it?
I don't know, but I think that they should bring him back as Jungle Jack Perry, not Jungle Boy. He doesn't have to be face. He doesn't have to be heel. You could be whatever he wants with Jungle Jack Perry, and he doesn't sound like a child anymore, and he still gets his jungle-like thing if he wants to. He's not a boy anymore. But I think the reason that people couldn't get his heel character at all was his choice of music, and I blame, and I'm not going to lie, and I love you, Christian Cage, and I love what you were doing, helping him develop and everything like that. But I feel like he was like, it'd be really epic. Go like this, because like, and for almost anybody else, like you sure, it maybe could work, but like he was Jungle Boy for too long. That type of music, he would have needed to change so entirely. Like it would have needed to be like completely night and day. And I don't feel like it was night and day. I feel like it was heel Jungle Boy. Not, like not completely different person. Because that music was so like you watched him come out and you're like, this doesn't fit. It doesn't fit. It doesn't. He can't fill out that music. That music doesn't. It's too big for him. It was just too epic.
And I agree. I think what it was also is the name change of just to Jack Perry. I understand that maybe he was just using the full name as kind of like an honor to his father. But even that, if he wanted to get the heel character off, even Hollywood Jack Perry would have really pissed the fans off as a name. It was kind of like when Hogan came back as Hollywood Hulk Hogan, or when The Rock came back as, Rock from Hollywood. It's that pro wrestlers, like pro wrestling fans that are really pro wrestling fans, do not like when people say Hollywood in their names. It's like, dude, just go back to where you came from. You're not, but also like you were talking about, Matt, about breaking Kill Switch back to Luchasaurus off from that group. What I like to see is maybe like Luchasaurus like finally snap, try to beat up Christian, and him and Nick Wayne just take it to Luchasaurus, to where Jack Perry comes back as maybe, like Siren said, Jungle Jack Perry, and makes the save, because a lot of people forget there's still untold story between Jack Perry and Christian, and honestly, you can see it where even now you could have Jack Perry and Luchasaurus versus Christian and Nick Wayne. Oh, that'd be such a great get out, it'd be the tag team kind of like that. So there's so many ways you can go with it.
No,
I like that.
I agree. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens, but yeah, I agree that you could do something. But I think now this is a good opportunity that you could bring back Jack Perry with a new character, and people be welcomed. I think it's the way the timing is, especially if the storyline makes sense, back in with Luchasaurus, and everyone loved Jurassic Express. As far as, I really liked that. I thought they were a great team. I didn't think it was time to break them up. I like them better together. I think they're better personalities together. I just think that it fits. They looked a little lost going on their own, but again, I also appreciate when it's time. You've done what you can do as a team, and I understand it's time to break away. I totally get that. So, but yeah, I guess we'll have to see. We'll see what happens if we're going to see it sooner than later. But it'd be nice to see, Jack Perry back in the ring sooner than later, if possible. So, but so from there, what do we have next?
We had a little backstage segment and then a match. So we'll go over the backstage segment real quick. It was Renee interviewing both Ruby Soho, Harley Cameron, and Soraya. Soraya basically bringing Harley on to help them, and just there's some weirdness in that interview to where even in the end Renee was like, so what is going on between you? She goes, I just want to talk about it, and telling Harley, hey, you're embarrassing me, stop. Like, I don't know if it's like Soraya like making a new protege and like new best friend to where stop embarrassing me, you're embarrassing me, like as a friend. But it was just a weird backstage segment, and I don't know where they're going with that story.
When Harley says I'll do anything, she does it in a really suggestive way, looking at Ruby Soho. She's like, I'll do anything. Watch it back. I swear to you. And that is when she's like, okay, now stop. Like, you're embarrassing me. Like, stop. Right? She tells her to cool it. Yeah. But like, it was very suggestive, I thought, anyway. And then they follow up Harley being flirtatious in another segment later with Angelo. So like, she's very just like this flirtatious, I feel like she's gonna, what do you call that, like a honeypot kind of thing. I feel like she's supposed to be there to be a seductress, but she's just really dorky and bad at it. I don't know, because like she is very suggestive, and she does have another, like I said, segment with Angelo, and it is again very flirtatious, and she's all touching up on him and stuff, and I'm just excited to see where it goes. I think it's kooky and fun.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to see where it takes us with that group. So and after that segment, do we head back to the ring?
We have the match between Darby Allin and Konosuke, which I believe was the match of the night. One of the it's tied with the main event, obviously, but this one it was such a good match. It was such a hard hitting match. Obviously, Darby just throwing his body around like crazy, trying to outmaneuver the bigger, stronger Konosuke. But Konosuke, with some of his belly to back suplexes and just some of his big moves, I mean, he's just bringing that strong style from Japan over and just laying it out on Darby, and Darby taking it. There was that one towards the end when he was, he suplexed him off the top rope, and as Darby hit the mat, he's rolling back up before Konosuke finishes him. Darby's just doing this, like telling him, just like, come on, dude, just do it, and he just nails him with the knee and wins. Yeah. And so I honestly thought this was probably the best match between both men in a while. Like, I think this really made Konosuke like a force to be reckoned with. Waiting to see what they do with him, because he definitely needs a direction. I mean, this is the guy who has two victories over Kenny Omega from 2023. And now he's got a solid solo victory over I think he's a 3-time TNT champion in Darby Allin, 2-time. So now he's got to win over that, so, and then obviously, you got to see where Darby goes, especially with, his story with Sting eventually retiring this year at Revolution. So I'm really interested to see where they go with this story.
Me too.
Siren?
You pretty much hit almost every single point that I wanted to, Adam, except for you didn't mention the rolling German suplex down the ramp. The rolling German suplex down the ramp. I was like, ow, ow, ow. Like, it was great, though. It was fun to watch. It was something that I haven't seen that. I thought it was really fun. It was kind of neat. But it also really hurt to watch, because I was like, oh, that doesn't look like there's a whole heckin' lot of padding there. But yeah, no, other than that, again, I am really excited to see where they go with his story, because, I mean, he's been with the Callis family for how long now? It's been a long while. Like
6 months at least, right?
Yeah, like it's been
like
almost
7 months,
Yeah, like it's been a long minute. And I mean, that story's kind of been bouncing around a lot. I understand with Kenny being ill and with like situations and stuff that's been happening over the last while, but like, where are we going with him? So I'm excited to see this now. It's nice to see him getting put into like what seems to be his own kind of story instead of like the Callis family, you know, Kenny Omega story, right? Like, I don't know. I like it. I'm down.
Yeah, no, I agree with both you guys. I thought it was a great match, and it kind of actually had that feel of AEW from 2 years ago. The kind of matches we were seeing all the time. I think, Adam, I think that's your point. This is the match that both of these guys needed, and again, it kind of felt like when Kinetsuke came in, he was having some badass matches, and that's what everyone got excited. They were like, "Yeah, this guy is really good." And I felt doesn't shine as, I know he's pinned. Oh my gosh, why did I forget his name? You just mentioned it. You said his name. He has 2 victories over
Kenny Omega.
Omega.
Yeah, sorry guys, I just kind of
No,
brain
no worries.
yeah, so it's like, so I know but it's more he's been in a lot of tag matches, taking a bit of back seat to the Don Callis family. But I liked in his promo there that they actually let him speak like in his Japanese, because again, they need to do that because they get their character across. Because I'm like, I don't know what he says, but when you speak Japanese with this grunting and this thing, it just sounds fierce, right? So what are we saying? It just sounds, menacing, right? So it's the same as when Nakamura does it as well, when they let him just talk in his native tongue, which is great. But yeah, no, it was a great match. These guys came hard. I do think that Kinetsuke needed this one to keep people believing in his kind of character.
Mm-hmm.
And he needs more of these matches because they are really good. He is a really good wrestler. And again, Darby's throwing around. It's fortunate. I think we're gonna have this talk, in a few years, and he's going to be, the Mick Foley. With he's gonna have knees blown, replaced hips, neck fused, things missing. But I hope not. But he's great. He's entertaining.
The way he's going, though,
he gives us his all. But you know what? Maybe we'll see more of this after Sting's little farewell tour that they're doing. Because again, once he's gone, if Sting does indeed retire, I'd love to have him come. I'd love to still see him as almost in a manager role. I think he's a great persona. I think he's a great character. He adds to the match. He can still kind of, do little things here and there, but it doesn't have to be in the match. And we're fine with that. We just like the Sting character. He's just like he has that kind of Undertaker feel, right? The big, just the character itself. People love the entrance theme, all that stuff. So hopefully they can kind of keep that. But also, I can't blame the guy if he's ready to retire and he's in his 60s and he's done his tour. He doesn't owe wrestling anything anymore. So he's, which is great. So it's nice to see this little swan song that he's having. But I think we're going to see Darby back to Darby form again once he's back on his own.
I can't wait. I miss him being in the title picture. He's so fun.
All right. So, Adam, what do we have next, sir?
We have the Continental Title Eliminator match where the winner goes on to face Eddie Kingston, the current champion, on Collision. So this match featured Trent Beretta, Connor's favorite person, Brian Cage, his best friend, the bounty hunter, Brian Keith, which was great to see him back on AEW, and the mega champion, El Hijo del Vikingo. I love Vikingo. This was a really fun match. There was a lot of spots. Each guy got to show all their stuff out there. Even Brian Keith, like you don't get to see him a lot on AEW television. You see him more in Ring of Honor, but seeing him on AEW to kind of showcase kind of what he can do in the ring is really exciting. The man can move. He's really fast in the ring. Obviously, you had all the power moves from Brian Cage. And then at one point, Danhausen gets involved and actually curses Brian Cage and actually is there to pretty much be by the side of Trent Beretta, who ends up winning this match.
Sorry? I'm not happy about that. I feel like we're missing a whole story angle that we could have had there. We could have had that Orange Cassidy turn that we were Blood Orange for the win. There was so much that could have happened, and nobody's talking about it. Nobody. And it drives me nuts. And I just want to know if it was like, was Trent supposed to put Danhausen out, like at the World's End, like, you know, battle royale? Was he? Because, like, if he was, if that's part of the story, why the heck is nobody talking about it? Danhausen looked surprised when it happened. Why is Danhausen helping Trent? Why is there nothing going on with this? There's so many potential storylines that one little thing could have affected, and the fact that Danhausen showed up with no animosity whatsoever, completely psyched to be there in Trent's corner and helped him out, unless he's doing something very evil in the back, I'm mighty confused and slightly disappointed, because I feel like Danhausen deserves more storylines and best friends need to change. And that was all right there, ready to happen. So that's my feels on that.
Yeah, you know what? I thought it was a good match. I'll say the one thing I do like, that's a WWE never really does or did, was just kind of bring in guys that were not on the regular. We just gave them a shot. They can maybe come from the independents, maybe from Impact, from ROH. So I like that, especially when it's like a continental title. You're pulling from these other areas and giving other guys chances. And when they do that, it doesn't lose anything to me, the story, because they usually bring guys that get a chance that are really entertaining, like Van Kingo, if I'm saying that correctly, or I'm butchering it, right? Or the Bounty Hunter. Right? Even if you're not familiar, it doesn't take away from it, because you're also seeing the entertainer and appreciating just how good they are and for the skills. So I always thought that AEW does a great job of that, and it doesn't feel weird or awkward that, hey, who's this guy they're bringing in? I actually really like it. It adds another layer of internationalism, I think, which is great. So it's but you know what, I think with Trent, again, the whole thing. Everyone always talks about a battle royal, every man for themselves, and I don't care. I'm in it to win it, and that's what he did. He threw it a friend.
I agree.
We're in here, and he's like, I want this. So I can't blame the guy, because it shows he's got that hunger, and he does look hungry right now. He's had some unfortunate, I know, some injuries. More in the tag. He was more in the tag division all this time, and then got into like the 4-on-4 and 3-on-3s, best friends, and kind of. I thought it was on Rampage, so I wasn't really seeing him much. So I do like that he's a bit on his own, that he's got a bit of a mean streak, because he's talented. So it's actually nice seeing that one of the original talents is getting still pushed independently. So I'm good with it. I think he's deserving. He's been around long enough. We've seen he's got talent. So I'm fine with they don't have to make a storyline with him and Danhausen. Hey, why'd you throw me out? Well, it's about a royal, man. Every man for himself, right?
There's so much story that needs to happen, though. I mean, it has been dull with story. Everybody's talking about how best friends need to change. It was right there. And I understand every man for himself, but the biggest guy was left in the ring, Luchasaurus, and he was right there to be thrown out, and you throw out your buddy instead of the guy who probably could have been like, let's toss the Luchasaurus, and hey, would it be cool if I tossed you? And Danhausen would probably be like, yeah, bro, go for it. I don't know. I've thought this over like a bajillion times from every different angle, and I just feel the only reason that I am saddened by it is because they are leaving perfectly good storyline for wrestlers that could be utilized and aren't being utilized. That's it. Not to take anything away from Trent's victory. I thought it was super awesome. I definitely have been saying that since Trent got his head shaved, I've been waiting for something to happen with him, because he is a technically phenomenal wrestler. He's great in ring. He is talented. But there's a lot of other people who are talented that deserve story, and that was a lot of story.
No, and I agree. I'm big on Trent. I love Trent Beretta. I've loved his time on the Indies when he was when him and Chuck E. Cheese originally started the Best Friends. I've seen them at a couple of shows back in Chicago, and I love their characters. But man, when you watch Trent on his own, the man is a great solo star. He's got the nicks, and he's got the I wouldn't say much charisma, but he's got that it to him. that it's like, if you give this guy a chance, let him roll, he can give you some good matches. And every time I've seen Trent in a singles match, he has not disappointed. I think the first time Switchblade Jay White debuted on Rampage, it was one that I was at, and he wrestled Trent, and him and Trent put on a great match. So I know Trent can go certain way. I understand, Siren, your thoughts on, maybe revamping Best Friends and changing that whole dynamic in that group. And now you're adding Hook to that group. So it's like, there's a lot of moving parts to that group that it's like, you could go any way with it, but that's where I go back to, is like, well, let's see where they go with it, where it's like, hey, maybe this week, Danhausen's kind of like, it's cool, Trent, you threw me, it was Battle Royal, but you got this, buddy. Like, he's still a good friend. But he may be doing something nefarious. So, but again, we'll have to see where that goes.
We wait.
Yeah,
you know what? I think it'll set up. I think he needed to show a bit of that mean streak,
sure.
because if they're setting him up to fight Eddie Kingston, like right now, they've really built it up that you got to bring your A game with Eddie Kingston in, because he's a hard hitter. So I think this is going to be a great match. I'm looking forward to it. But I think they need to step it up and let Trent almost like, he does have that mean streak, and he can go toe to toe. I think this would be a huge match for him. I think this is going to be a really telltale sign of where they go with him. I think it's going to be, I expect to hear some "This is awesome" chants from this match. And I think people are going to be like, wow, you know what? Trent, he's good. He does have the mean streak. He can hold his own. He can be a badass. He'll do whatever he does. I mean, everyone loves that about Eddie Kingston. He just does whatever he needs to do, and people love it, right? So it's kind of the trend. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to it, and I think this is going to be a real character development match for Trent coming up.
Yeah, and with that, we move to a quick segment backstage where Renee was supposed to interview Daddy Magic, but is interrupted by Hangman Page, basically saying, "I'll beat somebody's ass. If I can't find him, be Adam Cole. If not, Adam Cole will be you to." Daddy Magic. But he said he's pissed and he's out to beat somebody up. And after that, we move to the main event, which is Swerve Strickland with Prince Nana against Daniel Garcia. I thoroughly enjoyed this match. Like I said, this one was tied with the Darby Allin Konosuke match for me as the best matches of the night. Obviously, you had a little bit of a dance-off between Daniel Garcia with his move with Prince Nana, which was really funny to see. Both these guys really put in the fight with each other. Obviously, it was going to go back and forth. A lot of people thought, oh, hey, maybe Garcia pulls the upset on Swerve. No, Swerve keeps beating up on Garcia, hits him a couple times, and then with the knee, I keep forgetting that move with the kick running from the corner, and then just basically kicks him in the head, and then obviously ends with a house call and wins it. And then in the end, Hangman Page comes out and starts brawling with Swerve to end the match. So it looks like they're going back to that whole feud and kind of bringing that back, as it, I guess, generated with people that they liked it. And maybe obviously they owe Hangman Page a win back. So I don't know, but that's how our show ended, was with Swerve and Hangman Page being held back by security and a lot of other people.
Yeah, no, it's you gotta love. Maybe he's getting angry. He's growing that mustache, so he's getting that angry cowboy mustache is coming into effect. But I don't know if you guys remember. I did, and I brought this up a couple of times that, with Daniel Garcia, and I said, like, you watch, he's going to get, because of the work that he's doing in the tournament and he's losing these matches, he will get some big matches. And next week, he's in the main event of Dynamite. So I knew, you know what, because Tony rewards, I knew into it. He's like, hey, if you do the work, yeah, sure, you're going to lose these matches, but don't worry, you're going to get your chance. And he is. So I love it. And I love the dance off. Had to happen.
I would have been upset if it didn't.
You know what? I like Daniel Garcia. I wasn't sold on him when he first came in. He looked kind of scrawny in his little trunks and looked so generic. But I love his character. He's really, obviously he's grown. He's a great professional wrestler. He's got the respect of a lot of these top guys. He's in there with them and he holds his own, which is great. Great match. And, I know he lost again. But really, if you think about, yes, you lose, but you're losing in the main event. So are you really losing? Like, you're in the main event, and that's at the bottom line. That's what guys want to be. They just want to be in the main event. They put on a great show, and eventually they're going to get their wins. He'll get his wins, whether it be maybe they're going to build him back up, because he can't keep on losing over and over and over and over. But I think you're going to see a bit of a streak coming from Daniel Garcia now after all this.
100%.
So I don't think. Yeah, so I don't know if you guys, what you think. Yeah, like you said, are you looking forward to another Hangman swerve? Oh, did Adam just fall away?
Nope.
Oh, he's back.
No, I felt something falling off my laptop. Sorry.
You look like your trap door gave way.
Go ahead, Siren. I'm sorry.
Oh no. Oh, no worries. I'm super excited actually. I feel like I was never really a big Hangman fan. And I still stand by the fact that I think he had the worst AEW championship run out of anybody so far. And I stand by that wholeheartedly. But I will say that I have enjoyed him the most over the last 6 months ish. And I've enjoyed his promo work a lot better. Every time somebody hands him a mic, I don't go like I used to. So that's good. I feel like his character is a little bit more passionate, and he doesn't like as much as he used to, which is really cool. And yeah, so like I actually am really excited to see more of him in Swerve. Just because I want to see. I mean, we've seen how kind of like dark Swerve can get, but like I would like to see it if Adam goes a little nutty at some point. That'd be cool. Like, well,
he's definitely getting nutty right now.
He's losing it.
Yeah, that's the nuttiest or craziest I've seen him so far.
Yeah, and that's what I like. He's so much more passionate than what he was before. Like to me, he was just such a dull character. Like, cowboy shit. Yeah, and everybody, I mean, I get it. Cowboys, awesome, hoorah, whatever. Cowboy hats, great. But like, it was never over for me. Like, never, ever, ever, ever. And his promo work was never over for me. I never had a problem with his in-ring. His matches weren't always super awesome, but he did have some bangers, like, for sure. I'm never gonna say that he was like mid by any means. But he was never my favorite, and I like him a lot more. So I'm excited to see him more with Swerve.
Yeah, no, and I agree. And with him and Swerve again, I mean, obviously I just said it. I think it's just another way to get Paige a win back from Swerve.
Yeah.
The problem is, I mean, how do you top a Texas Death Match? I mean, that was supposed to be the big payoff. I mean, honestly, if it was up to me, you should have gone a normal match and then maybe a lights out match or cage match, and then end up with the Texas Death Match. But right now, there's really no other match that can top a Texas Death Match other than a lights out match. That's the only other one I can think of that they can finish up their story on.
Exploding barbed wire death match.
I mean, that could be it too, is barbed wire match, but it for me, like, I understand it was a hit with people, that people love that Texas Death Match. They want to see that match again with Swerve and Paige, but it's like, listen, we've already seen it. Swerve's got that momentum going in 2024. He doesn't need to go back to the storyline with Paige, push him forward with something else, but I can understand it because they want to milk that feud.
I just want to like Adam Page.
I think I think to your point, because you can't go more hardcore. You just have to change up a thing at this point. It's like, okay, either you do a 60-minute Iron Man match, because that's intriguing. How many pins can you get in an hour, or do a 2 out of 3 falls match? Go back to the pure wrestling match, but put a stipulation like a 2 out of 3 falls or an Iron Man match. I think those would still be great matches. There's still a lot of anticipation, I think, because we don't need it. Like, these guys can wrestle, so they don't need the ad and everything. They don't need the staples. They've done that, so we know they can take it. We know they're man's man, and we'll do anything. And I'm fine with not seeing that again. But I think they need to take it to the next level. Okay, let's get back and just do that Iron Man professional wrestling match. and go from there instead of doing another no DQ or craziness and explosions. You don't need all that for the next one. So I'm looking forward to it to see if that one. I think, but you're right. I mean, I get your guys' point. It's time to move on. Have you seen it? Are we done with it? Do we want Hangman to go and get crazy on someone else and let Swerve kind of do his thing, or we want to see more of it? I think the fans are kind of like, well, what more? Where can they go from there? We've seen this, so it'll be interesting. So that's my pick. That's what I think will happen if they're going to have another match with stipulations. But overall, it was a good show. I thought it was entertaining. I do like, and I know AEW's got a lot of criticism. This guy's leaving, and that girl's leaving, and this girl's coming. We get so wrapped up on who's coming, who's leaving, that you can really see they have a really good roster that's always been there. And I think we're starting to see now that CM Punk is gone, and I don't miss that. It's fine. If he wants to be in WWE, that's fine. There was such a spotlight on Punk and in MJF. So if both those guys are out for a bit, that really frees up some space for some really good guys, aka the Trent Berettas of the world, right? The Swerves of the world. Those guys are going to come alive. So I think in Christian Cage, you give these guys an opportunity to take the next level. And I think there's a lot of guys that can lead the company and still have a great roster and a great story. And then it takes away, we're actually just watching how it used to be, and we're not so worried about what CM Punk is doing backstage, who's fighting backstage. And I'm not really missing the Bucks right now either, to be honest. I don't mind seeing some other fresh storylines and fresh wrestlers coming up. I don't know what you guys think of that. If you think coming up in the next while that there's actually a really good roster to step up for any of these missing wrestlers that are out.
Somebody brought it up recently, and I don't remember exactly who it was. Somebody brought up to me that Collision has changed into another Dynamite Rampage kind of extension, and in the way that they are not showing as much different talent on it as they used to. They're now showing a lot that you do see more on Dynamite and Rampage, are also now on Collision. So I'm hoping that going forward, speaking because we do have such a phenomenal roster to work with, that they kind of go back to that, where they have that little bit of brand separation with Collision. It is a 2-hour program that can have its own little kind of thing. I don't know. I liked that, but I don't remember who it was. It was somebody on this podcast who mentioned it, that they liked the older version of Collision with Punk because there was more varying talents on it. And as soon as you mentioned larger roster, it brought me right back to that, large roster. I'm like, you know what? You're right. But there's so many different ways that we can showcase them. And yeah, I think that now is the time. I hate when people speculate this person's going here, this person's going there, and blah, blah, blah. I hate that. I hate it so much because at the end of the day, if you like the wrestler and you like their talent and their, then watch whatever program they're on. It shouldn't matter.
Yeah, I agree. And I remember, look at the 90s where WWF guys were going and women were going to WCW and vice versa. It was happening. It's been happening for decades of other wrestlers going to other promotions that had no issue with it.
Even
today you're looking at toxic fans that have this, again, we talk about it a lot, is that tribalism of we show our honor and our acknowledgement to one promotion, but not the other. And for AEW, I honestly like it. I prefer their style of wrestling over WWE's. It's not that I don't like WWE. I'll watch WWE, see what they're doing. It's still a promotion. I'm watching highlights from Impact to see what they're doing. They're introducing new styles of belts too to go back to TNA belts. So I'm excited for that.
So
but
pretty.
To go back with you, Matt, now you do get to see guys step up with people that are injured or out sick or that are gone, like you said, the Trent Berettas, the Swerves, the Garcias, but you get the women wrestlers being spotlight again. You get the Chris Statler, the Willow Nightingales, and then you add these women from outside of the promotion to your promotion with Mariah May and now with Deonna Purrazzo. And, if the rumors are true, you get Mercedes Moné coming in. You're changing the landscape of your entire roster. And you're trying something different. And that was the original plan of AEW, was being an alternative. And a lot of people bash them. They're like, well, they still got a lot of WWE people. It's like, yeah, those people still got to work. Right. And if this promotion wants to give them the opportunity, I mean, I saw a picture the other day. It was a comparison side by sides of when this person was WWE and where they're at now. And it showed four groups. It was Samoa Joe in a raincoat doing commentary at WrestleMania, and then him holding the AEW title. Yeah. The next one was Toni Storm covered in pie. She's holding the women's title. You know, it showed FTR getting their back shaved, showing them holding the tag titles. And then it showed Claudio being Pumpkinhead on his head. Yep. Now he's holding the Ring of Honor world title, and they're showcasing it. It's like, listen, this is where they want to be. This is where they can show their skills and what they do in the ring, not just the storytelling, but what they can do in the ring.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Sharon.
I'm going to stand by the fact, one thing that I say is I don't believe that any promotion is less than another promotion. It's only different. You get different experiences, you wrestle different people, you learn different things. And that goes all the way from indies all the way up. I mean, you are always learning something. You are always gaining new experiences and seeing and doing new things with every different promotion and every different match that you have anywhere in the world. And that's awesome. And if you like ROH, if you like WWE, if you like whatever, it doesn't matter. It's all wrestling at the end of the day. Just be happy to be a wrestling fan. This next decade is going to be insane for wrestling. It's going to be so good. I'm calling it now. It's getting that mainstream feel again. You know, like I'm starting to like see kids with wrestling shirts out and about again, you know, like, and I don't live in a very populated area. So like it's nice to see. And I feel like we're getting there, and people should just let people love the wrestling that they love. It's all wrestling at the end of the day.
I get it. I agree. And I don't know, and to your point, I think it's getting a little more mainstream, which is great. The only thing that's coming with that, which we didn't see that when it was so mainstream back in the late 90s, that huge, the Attitude Era, is you didn't have the social media behind it. You didn't have the voice of the haters, wasn't as strong as it ever was. I mean, nobody hates wrestling more than wrestling fans, right? So, and you know what? I never understand when people get so upset about a few WWE guys going over and getting work with AEZ, or I mean, AEW. Sorry, looking at your backdrop there. Like you said, they have to work, and just because they were at somewhere else doesn't mean like, oh, you're taking them like there. No, because they felt stale. They needed a change. They want to go. They're not forced to go. They want to go, and if they're getting paid more to do something they want to do and be like you said, you pointed out where their characters were versus where they are now. Hell yeah. Like, why wouldn't you want to support that? Why wouldn't you want to support Claudio having the ROH championship instead of doing stupid scenes, you know, with pumpkins on his head, right? Like, why are you getting angry at that, right? So that's the kind of stuff I never understand. They're different characters. They're good characters, and they're utilized better. So everybody does that in life. You go to another company, and because you want to advance your career, maybe do something else, maybe do a manager position. So you're not getting, nobody criticizes anybody you know for going to another company, right? So I don't know why there's they do that so much. There's so much hate, you know, with stealing talent. It's not. Guys just want to move, and girls want to move. They need to make money. They have a living to make. They have families to support. They have characters they want to do. They have, you know, they want to do whatever they want to do. So
agreed.
But, you know, with that, I know we're coming over the hour. Another great show. You know, if you guys have any final thoughts, by all means. Do you have any final thoughts on the? Not to put you on the spot there, Sire.
I just ate a bunch of gummy bears.
No worries. But
it's really solid. You need to catch up, Matt. You need to catch up. You haven't watched your Rampage or your Collision, Matt. I'm going to give you the finger of shame. Shame.
You know what? I did see the Iron Claw, though. I did get my fill. It was a really good movie. Love the story. I'll just say one thing, which I couldn't believe is it was a terrible casting for the Ric Flair character.
I've heard it's the worst, and I've heard it's the best. I've heard, my gosh, that man is nothing like Ric Flair, and I've heard, man, if I close my eyes, it's a motherfucking Ric Flair. Oh, no. So, like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Guys, comments. Send us any comments. Let us start, like, let's figure out, what do you think? Do you think the guy in the Iron Claw was a good Ric Flair or nah, man? Like, because I want to know. I want to know what you think. I'm curious.
I'm waiting for the Eddie Guerrero movie and him being played by Pedro Pascal from The Last of Us. That's my call. Is they need to cast Pedro Pascal as Eddie Guerrero in a biop, just about the whole Eddie Guerrero, the whole Guerrero family.
Are they actually going to do a Guerrero family?
I mean, that's a story. I mean, they've interviewed Chavo about it, and Chavo said he would love to do a movie about his family, but there's so many families you can do movies on, and I think Eddie Guerrero's story would be a great one to tell, in a movie, in a biop.
Yeah. Even the Hart family. There's
the Hart family. Yep.
I'll just say there's the one thing that, again, this is not spoiling anything. The only criticism, again, I thought the movie was well done overall. I love the story. I just I don't get it. If you're going to talk about the entire family and talk about all the tragedies, I don't think they should have left out a brother. They left out a brother like he didn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
So I never.
Are you talking about the oldest?
No, I think he was he was kind of around wrestling, but not
much.
Yeah.
I see. I didn't know that.
I don't understand. And apparently he died of, I think, suicide, I think, as well.
Oh my God.
I don't understand that, because it's contributing to the tragedy of the family.
It really, and the curse.
Right. So just to leave him out because it didn't add to the continuity of the flow of the movie. What do you mean? It's a family member. So you don't give him apart. You can't do a family story and leave out a family member who actually tragically died like the other brothers. To me, that's
very unfortunate.
So that irritated. I'll just say that I found that a bit of I find it disrespectful personally, and I'm not sure why.
As a wrestling historian.
Yes, exactly. Yes, and the Ric Flair bugged me. If you're going to play a character, either you got to look like him or you at least have to sound like him. And I thought this guy was neither. So, which is that's my take. Other than that, it was a really good story. So if anyone has anything else at the comments, can add in. If anyone else agrees, disagrees, I'd love to, like Siren said, if anyone has any opinion on that, by all means, share in the comments. Great. Well, guys, we'll wrap it up for another episode 22 in the books, for another nice, sunny, warm January day here in 2024. But as always, great to have you guys on. Thank you very much. And thanks for everyone that listened, watched, and tell all your friends and family. We'd love to see you. And please like and subscribe if you haven't already. So thanks very much, guys. Adam, Siren, it's been a pleasure, and we'll see you again next week.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.